The way we work is changing, but one thing remains the same. People work better face to face. So the people at High Five built easy-to-use web and video conferencing you can actually love. High Five is a seamlessly integrated hardware and cloud software solution that lets people work however they choose. That means a sleek in-room device, easy to use from your computer or mobile device, and the standard software is free, so you don't need to pay per employee. Visit highfive.com/StarTalk and request a 30-day free trial that includes 5 in-room devices and unlimited software for your employees. That's highfive.com/StarTalk to request your free trial and start meeting face-to-face with High Five.
Our universe is filled with secrets and mysteries, leaving us with many questions to be answered. We find ourselves searching for those answers as the very fabric of space, science, and society are converging. Here, for the first time, these worlds collide.
Oh, what are you saying?
All you Trekkies and TV addicts, don't mean to this, don't mean to bring static. All you Klingons in your grandma's house, grab your backstreet friend, they get loud.
Say, Doc, what's up in this shit? I'm a man that's on a mission, like a scientist. When I'm applying this,
Check it out. What's it all about?
now get busy.
This is Star Talk. I'm your host, Neil Degrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist. And I have with me Chuck Nice.
That's right.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey, Neil.
Tweeting at Chuck Nice Comic.
That is correct, sir.
As always. Good. Good to have you on the show.
Good to be here.
Do you know what this topic is today? There's probably no more important topic we've ever addressed than this topic.
Oh.
The future of humanity.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is.
The future of humanity.
And we are featuring my interview with the one and the only Elon Musk.
A man who is contributing to the future of humanity.
He's not contributing to it. He is the it's not something that everybody else is doing and then they come in on it. No. He's making it. Okay. And sometimes he's referred to as the real life Iron Man, Tony Stark. I have to agree with that, actually. And he's the founder of PayPal. It's an internet company. He's a founder of SpaceX, a rocket company. He's founder of Tesla Motors, an electric car company. And he's chairman of Solar City, a solar energy company.
He is the real Tony Stark.
There you go. And I thought, I mean, I don't love you, but I thought I should bring in some help on this one.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Another man who...
Yeah. There's someone else in my life.
Now this is awkward.
It's not that awkward.
Oh, here he is. Bill Nye.
Yes. Over here biting my lip. Is Dr. Tyson going to introduce me? Or should I say anything?
No, we'll just talk about you.
We're talking about Elon Musk, who is
Bill,
a heck of a guy.
Yeah, good to have you here because you've got some serious engineering background. And so a lot of the show, we're going to talk about engineering the future of our civilization.
Yeah.
And I could make stuff up,
dream.
but I'd rather you say what real stuff. And plus you're writing a book on, like, what, sustainability?
Climate change and doing more with less.
Do you know what it's going to be called?
Unbounded.
Unbounded. Ooh.
Nice.
And I want to cultivate. Go ahead.
Subtitle, you're a frickin' idiot if you don't believe in climate change.
Okay, is that what it is?
Well, that might as well be. So it's an extraordinary time. I mean, we're talking about Elon Musk and his vision for the future of humanity. But it's an extraordinary time. As we record this, the state of Florida just forbade would not allow state officials to use the phrase climate change.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Or sea level rise.
Or sea level. And they're going to, so what's going to happen? The states of Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama are going to build fences like we have in Texas to keep the Floridians, both the Seminoles and the
Chuck, I think
no disrespect to anybody who lives in Florida, Georgia, or Alabama, but I got a feeling it's going to be a chain link fence too. Let's keep this water out.
Well, let's find out. So let's get to the bottom of what created Elon Musk. I wanted to find out, You know, where did he come from? Where did he grow up? I didn't know anything about the man. Let's find out. Elon, what egg hatched you into this world? Where were you before you?
Well, I was born in South Africa.
Born in South Africa, and you come to America and make $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect to make $1 billion, I suppose. I mean, I grew up in South Africa, honestly seeing a lot of the same TV and movies and reading comic books, and it really didn't feel all that different from, say, Southern California, honestly.
So you had a kind of baptism into American pop culture at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I ate a lot of hamburgers and went to steakhouses and read like every comic book, you know. So my father brought me on a trip to the United States when I think I was about 10. I remember it was a really awesome experience because the hotels all had arcades. So my number one thing was when we went to a new hotel or motel or whatever it is, go to the arcades. And so they had
forget any other services. Forget
yeah.
whether they had bed bugs. You're looking for arcade games.
Yeah.
What did video games do for you?
I mean, they're incredibly engaging, and they made me want to learn how to program computers. Because then I thought, well, I could make my own games, and then I could also... I wanted to see how the games work. Like, how did you create a video game? That's what led me to learn how to program computers.
So you became a programmer?
Yeah, so I had one of the first video game consoles. It didn't even have cartridges. You had like 4 games that you could play, and you could like pick one of the 4 games you could play. That was it. And then it went from there to the original Atari, and then in television. And then I was in a store and saw a Commodore VIC-20. And I was like, holy crow, you can actually have a computer and make your own games. I thought this was just one of the most incredible things possible. Took all of my saved allowance and then hounded my father until we got the Commodore VIC-20. And then it came with this manual on how to program in BASIC, which I sort of spent all night, several days in a row, just absorbing that. And
on your own? No one forced you?
No.
This is self-motivated. I got to know this. This is good for me.
I've spent like 9 or 10 or something.
So you were fluent in BASIC at age 9 or 10?
Yeah. I kind of got OCD on the thing. Maybe it's not technically OCD, but I certainly got obsessive. Let me put that, at least the O part.
So programming is power.
Else.
You get to control something.
Yeah, you can construct a little universe. And when you first do it, you're like, wow, this is incredible. You can actually make things happen. Like you type these commands and then something happens on the screen. That's pretty amazing.
So there is hope for all the parents who have middle school children who are lost in their video games.
Absolutely.
They too can be a billionaire.
I'm sorry, what I was just playing.
Bill, we're over here. Put the video game down.
Put your PS Vita down. Yeah, you know, actually, that's my son is a video game craze ball.
How old is he?
He's 9.
He's 9. Yeah, it doesn't get better.
Doesn't get better.
Right.
But his favorite game is something called Minecraft.
Yeah.
I know nothing about it.
Oh, well.
However, I started watching him play this, and I went, you know what? This isn't bad. This guy's learning how to create his own universe. It's very imagination-driven. And now he wants to learn how to code.
We love the guy.
It could go diabolical if he wants to create his own universe. I just want you to know.
It's not as easy as it sounds. On the radio, create your own universe. Hey, great.
So just a quick resume of Elon Musk. So, in 1999, he founded the company that would become PayPal. Wow. And then sold it to eBay. And he ran off with $180 million in it, and he was 32 years old. And so...
How did he make a living between university and 32?
Well, there's more of this interview that we will find out. But I don't know. He was like making companies and selling them, and then
the way you do.
On. Yeah. Of course, that's how you do it.
Exactly.
Let's find out.
That's hard.
So what I wanted to know was, while he was in college, what was he thinking about? You know, most of us in college, you want to major, get a job when you come out. Let's find out what he was thinking about.
When I was in college, I sort of thought, well, what are the things that are most going to affect the future of humanity? And electric cars, solar power, essentially sustainable.
Most people are thinking, I just want a job when I get out. And you're trying to reshape humanity as an undergraduate.
I mean, in America, it's pretty easy to keep yourself alive. So, I mean, my threshold for existing was pretty low. I mean, I figured I could be in some dingy apartment with my computer and be okay and not starve. In fact, when I first came to North America, I was in Canada when I was 17. And just to sort of see what it takes to live, I'd try to live on $1 a day, which I was able to do.
Wow.
You sort of just buy food in bulk at the supermarket.
Rice and beans and...
Yeah, I went more for the hot dogs.
Hot dogs, okay.
Hot dogs and oranges. But you do get really tired of hot dogs and oranges after a while. And we can also pasta and a green pepper and a big thing of sauce, and that can go pretty far too. So I was like, oh, okay, if I can live for $1 a day, then at least from a food cost standpoint, well, it's pretty easy to earn like $30 in a month, So,
yeah, I would think.
So it'll probably be okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that allowed you to not have to worry about money because you
well,
did the experiment.
Yeah, I did the experiment, exactly.
So this was an important psychological, philosophical anchor for you. Not
Yeah.
to put words in your mouth, but that's a starting point to launch anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now you've got a baseline, a life baseline from which to go new places, intellectually, psychologically, financially. So what came first? Thoughts of an electric car or thoughts of space?
When you're starting out in college, like in your freshman, sophomore year, like you have these sort of sophomoric philosophical wanderings. And I try to think of, okay, what are the things that seem to me would most affect the future of humanity? There were really 5 things, 3 of which I thought would be interesting to be involved in. The 3 that I thought would definitely be positive would be the internet, sustainable energy, both production and consumption, and space exploration, more specifically the extension of life beyond Earth on a permanent basis. And then, although I never thought I would actually be involved in that. That was really something I thought that was important in the abstract, but not something I thought I would ever have an opportunity to be involved in. And then the 4th one was artificial intelligence, and the 5th one was rewriting human genetics. These were just the 5 things that I thought would most affect the future of humanity.
So, Chuck, did you want to change humanity when you went to college?
I didn't even want to change my underwear when I was in college. Are you kidding me?
Bill, you engineer man, do you agree with this list?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool list.
That's a cool list.
I would have included educating women and girls, raising the standard of living of women and girls so that the human population of the world will slowly become more manageable.
A greater tapping the lost intellectual capital.
That's right.
Among those who have been disenfranchised from it.
Or never franchised.
Right.
Yeah.
Never franchised in the first place.
Pre-franchised.
Which is, I love when you say that because it's basically you when women are educated, they don't have as many babies.
That's it.
That's
the
all there is
babies
to
they
it.
have are more loved and better cared for.
And so that's where the burgeoning of society happens with mom being a happier, healthier person, more educated, end up with better educated kids, end up with a better world.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Furthermore, the woman has a higher quality of life. She has a better job. She's happier, which just makes everybody happy.
So Elon, after he sold PayPal, he had a bajillion.
See, now that's where I stop.
You be done. You're good.
That was a mistake you made.
That's where I'm just.
You got a couple $100 million.
$180 million.
You're good. You're good to go. Yeah.
He's not that kind of guy, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Push.
And so what he wanted to do, he wanted to go into space. Wow. Let's find out how that got started.
When I started out, my goal was to do a philanthropic mission with the intent of increasing NASA's budget. That was my goal. I was confused as to why we'd not yet sent a person to Mars. It seemed like this was obviously the goal after the moon, and we'd not made progress on that. And when it became clear that PayPal was going to get sold, a friend of mine asked me what I'm going to do next, and I said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I'm always curious about what's going on with space and why have we made progress. I just wonder when we're going to send a person to Mars. So I went on the NASA website, and I couldn't find a date. I was like, well, maybe it's here somewhere, and I just can't find it.
The date that NASA wants to land on Mars.
Yeah, there's got to be like some schedule or something.
You're looking for that.
Game plan, or it's this date, even if it's far in the future, and it was not to be found anywhere. And anyways, I sort of started learning about that back history, and I thought, well, okay, maybe there's something that I can do to send a small mission to the surface of Mars that would get the public excited, and as a result of that public excitement, NASA's budget would be increased, and we could resume the process of sending people to Mars. Essentially,
So you thought you can do that with your lousy $1 billion?
no, I didn't have $1 billion at that time.
Okay.
I had about 180 million, still a lot. And I figured, well, maybe I could spend half of that on a mission to Mars. So I spent a fair bit of time investigating the space industry and eventually decided on this idea of sending a small greenhouse to the surface of Mars. We called the Mars Oasis mission. And so you have seeds in dehydrated gel. It would land, you hydrate the gel upon landing, and you'd have this great shot of green plants on a red background, and the public responds to precedents and superlatives. So this would be the first life on another planet, the furthest that life's ever traveled, as far as we know. And
That's how you get a headline.
Yeah,
superlatives.
exactly. It's got to be something new or something superlative. And I thought, well, okay, and that would maybe reinvigorate excitement, and the result would be NASA's budget gets increased. So the whole goal in the beginning was just, how do we get more money for NASA? But after spending a fair bit of time on this, I came to the conclusion that I was actually incorrect. My initial assumption was wrong, because I thought that where there's a will, there's a way, and that we just sort of lost our will. That's false. There's plenty of will. People needed to believe that there was a way, and a way that would not bankrupt the country or mean that they'd have to sacrifice something of critical importance like healthcare. So it became clear that the space transport problem had to be solved. Unless there was a dramatic improvement in the cost of space transport, then none of it would matter.
So in your first successful launch, what was the cost per pound to orbit?
About $6,000.
$6,000. Okay, that's an improvement.
Yeah, not bad.
Not $100 a pound.
No. To get to $100 a pound, you need a big rocket that's fully reusable.
Are you there yet?
No. We're making progress, though. It's been 12 years. So far, we've not recovered a stage. But I think we'll recover a stage within the next year and be able to reflight.
Is there a date on your website where someone can say, oh, he's going to land on
Touché.
Mars?
Good point.
That sounds like a no.
Well, I mean, I've said it publicly many times, although maybe we should put something on the website, which is that I think we've got a decent shot of being able to send a person to Mars in about 11 or 12 years.
So, Bill, what is he going to do this?
To reuse a stage?
Yeah, and then and get the cost down. And,
well, the cost down to
wait, who's going to get us to Mars? Elon Musk or NASA?
So let us keep in mind,
please,
that NASA pays SpaceX.
Okay.
About $2 billion so far.
Okay.
So SpaceX is now a contractor for NASA.
Okay, so our tax money is going to
that's a good thing.
To SpaceX. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is this vehicle that's going to get us to Mars?
So there's a couple of innovations, just let's say 3 innovations that I've seen with my own eyes, which must hide another 100,000 innovations that are very much more subtle. First thing is all the same engines. First stage, second stage, how many stages? It's the same engine.
Okay.
So why didn't somebody else do that? That's a good question.
Yeah, everything was a one-off in the past.
Yeah. Well, or a 5-off.
Okay.
Saturn 5-off.
Uh-huh.
And so then the other thing is, let's see if we can reuse a stage.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And this is his thing. It almost worked the other day. He tried to the company tried to land on a barge just east of Cape Canaveral, and it landed on the barge just a little faster than anybody wanted because it ran out of fuel to slow itself down.
Okay.
But
you need fuel to get faster, and if you're going fast, you generally need fuel to slow down.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to aero brake or something.
Yeah, well, we're coming through the atmosphere after launch. It's and the thing is not shaped for aero braking, really, but it is shaped for retro rocketing, if I can coin the verb.
There you go.
But then the fundamental thing, you guys, when NASA was created, I believe, Dr. Tyson, on the year of your birth, just within a week or so. Yeah.
Same week.
Yeah.
Same damn week. I come out of my mother, NASA comes out of
Coincidence?
out of Congress.
Perhaps. Anyway, the idea was to keep the thing.
I feel NASA's pain. I'm the same
sustain
age.
it. They put NASA centers all over the U.S. So when they went to manufacture rockets, they put pieces of the rocket all over the U.S. Solid things are made over here. The liquid things are made over here. They're tested over there. They get on train cars and go down there. Just right there. Just the expression, Houston, we have a problem. Why isn't it Florida, we have a problem? Cape Canaveral, we have a problem.
Chuck, did
Orlando,
you know
we have a problem.
that the instant the spacecraft clears the gantry, in that instant, full control transfers to Houston.
I mean,
if there's a human being on board.
1,000 nautical miles away.
Right. All the whole countdown and everything, or go to launch, all of that is Cape Canaveral.
But it's
And
SpaceX.
then the moment it passes
the thing,
then it's like, all right, guys, we'll take it from here.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right.
Thanks a lot, guys, for your work.
But anyway, it's SpaceX. It's just south of Los Angeles International Airport. Train car drives up, full of stainless steel, full of titanium, full of let's make rocket-anium parts. And it comes off the train car, they shape it and do their own thing.
I want rocket-anium. I want some of that.
Yeah, well, you can get it. 6061 T6 aluminum, T7, sometimes tempered 7 aluminum. So then it comes down. They make the tank. They attach the plumbing. It comes over here. There's a bunch of electronics. They attach that. They vacuum test it over here. Blah blah blah. Then it goes back on the train car to either Cape Canaveral close to the equator as the U.S. can get, or up to Vandenberg Air Force Base, which is north of
As
there.
a continental U.S., because Hawaii is closer.
Yeah, Hawaii's closer, but that's not on a train car.
Yeah, it's not on a train car.
Extraordinary train car, man.
Yeah.
And so...
hover train.
the aqua train. But the...
wait, Bill, so I get that.
Well, there's a fundamental lowering of cost. Huge reduction of cost.
Is that low enough to go to Mars like everybody says? He wants to go to Mars. He still wants to go to Mars.
Well, I would like to go to Mars, but I want to come back. And I don't want to go to Mars to live. I think that is not all the way thought through, in my opinion.
We choose to go to Mars.
That's right.
Because it's not easy.
Well, that's right.
No. He would choose to go to Mars
because
because it will kill you.
Right.
It's so, yeah. I mean, it's really.
Well, it's just
Instead,
really
I
hostile
choose to eat a
place.
Mars bar.
And also, for your consideration, I do love the Mars bar. For your consideration, we can talk about this after the break, but Elon Musk is a native of South Africa. South Africa colonized by Dutch people. I am a descendant from people from Northern and Central Europe. You guys are much more recently descended from Africa, but we have this human tradition of just spreading out. We don't like it here, we're going to go over there. We'll just keep spreading.
Which means,
and
of course,
spreading.
you're a descendant of Africans as well.
Oh, yes,
Just
we're
to
all
make that
descendants
clear.
of Africa. Yeah,
You have arbitrarily selected.
Yeah, I say more recent descent.
Yeah,
I went
that
with
was
more
arbitrary.
recent,
Let the record show that was a completely arbitrary line that you drew. Just,
but arbitrary, but historically not insignificant.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm just.
yeah. So anyway, humankind
Busting
has spread
If
into
you outnumbered
Mesopotamia,
at this table.
across Eurasia. The Ice Age has the snow frozen up. You
Yep.
just keep going in North America,
Right.
spearing mammals, partying.
It's what we do.
And so it's not clear that you will be able to leave the Earth and go live on Mars.
So you are skeptical of this, but you would not interfere with the dream state. I
However,
presume.
we do not want to violate in Star Trekian terms.
The Prime Directive,
Just so, Doctor.
which is.
We don't want to mess up the ecosystem on Mars. If
Wait,
there
wait,
is an
excuse me.
ecosystem.
We have no qualms messing up our own damn ecosystem.
Well, that doesn't make it a good thing.
I know,
mean,
but
and
why should Mars be the sacred place
Okay.
and not our own?
it's a rule.
We're
It's,
pooping in our own backyard.
it's an arbitrary, but it's not arbitrary. It's a reasonable rule. Mm-hmm. We can poop there after we determine whether or not there's something alive.
Mars.
After
It's
we-
nothing more than Earth's toilet.
And with that, we'll be back after this.
On that brilliant note from Chuck Nice, you're listening to Star Talk, Future of Humanity Edition. We'll be right back.
Are we human or are we dancer?
We've got a great sponsor today that can definitely be a game changer for you. They're called Next Issue. They're like Netflix for magazines. It's the new newsstand. Trying to avoid the clutter of a normal magazine subscription? Well, look no further. The future of magazines is here. You'll be able to read Popular Science, The New Yorker, Wired, National Geographic, and more. Now, those are just my favorites, but there's more than 140 to choose from. The whole thing costs less than 2 magazines at the newsstand for all your favorite reads. So, if you're like me and you travel and enjoy reading magazines to pass the time, now you can carry all of your personal faves right on your device. So that's convenience, incredible value. It's available on all the popular devices, and hey, we're going to offer you a 30-day free trial. Listen, you have nothing to lose, so go to nextissue.com/StarTalk and sign up today for your first month free and 50% off Next Issue's most popular premium plan for the next 2 months. It's a great deal and only available in the U.S. by going to nextissue.com/StarTalk and sign up today. That's nextissue.com/StarTalk.
The future of space and the secrets of our planet revealed. This is Star Talk.
We're back on Star Talk. I got Chuck Nice, Radical
across the table from me.
Sir, yes, sir.
I got Bill Nye, the science guy.
So good to be here.
And since we're radio, I must alert people that even in studio, you are in bow tie. Let the record show.
Yeah, well, what you see is what you get.
Maybe he's like the guy in Terminator 2, where
Just a polymetal?
Yeah, no, but the polymetal. But his police uniform.
That's right.
Was part of.
It was polymetal.
That is the metal.
That's
right?
how I roll.
So maybe Bill and the bow tie.
But watch out! I can turn my arm into a giant saber sword, wacky thing of death thing, which is shiny.
We're talking about the future of humanity. We're featuring my interview with Elon Musk.
And that does not feature polymetal.
No, it does not yet.
Not
yet. And I snared that interview when I visited him at SpaceX headquarters, which is, what's the name of that town that he's in? Is it
Crenshaw, Hawthorne.
Hawthorne, California, near Los Angeles.
Okay, New Yorker. Where is it? Hawthorne.
Hawthorne. Hawthorne.
Oh, by the stars.
Fine. So Bill, if we're going to go to Mars, do you see engineering challenges to that, or is it just, or is it only? No. Wait. No, I'm going to. This is a very serious question. Yeah. Engineers love a challenge, so don't tell me. Don't play that with me. A, B.
Bring it on.
Don't
bring it on.
Don't even. So my question is it just a matter of money, or even if I gave you as much money as you want, you might not be able to solve some of the engineering problems.
Oh, we can solve the problem.
Snap.
We can solve.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, because we land a rover from a freaking rocket crane.
Right.
We can solve the problems.
Right.
But as far as this colony idea, everybody.
Okay.
There's no liquid water as such.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, Mars was once very wet, and we found evidence of ice. All good. But it's not like there's a river there.
Right.
Okay. Then...
If there is, it's underground and no one has found it yet.
Okay, and let me go on to say, it's on its summer day at the equator, it's 20 below. Okay, yeah, you can get, what is it everybody wearing this year? Canada Arctic Crew. That was a Goose Down, Canada Goose Down brand jacket. Mm-hmm. All very good. That's when things are really good, that's all you got on.
That's midsummer attire.
But the main thing I think you would pick up on right away, there's no air. You would suffocate in a second.
Well, there's air, but there's no oxygen in the air.
Well, so you just have to make all that stuff once you get there.
Thank you, Chuck.
But Neil,
at least somebody's thinking about the future here.
I got to stop you there.
Bill, quiet for a minute.
There is oxygen in the air. But it's carbon dioxide. You have to separate it from the carbon.
Carbon dioxide, CO2, is one of the most tightly bound molecules ever made.
I mean, you can do it, but you got to put in the energy.
You got to put in the energy.
And then you're going to be living, everybody, you're going to be living in a submarine.
Wait, just to be clear, so you have to get that energy from somewhere.
Right.
Right. So just there's no such thing as a free lunch.
And you're 1.5 times the distance that we are from the sun. So your solar energy, if you wanted to run solar panels, what's 15 squared? So it's a 1.25.
Two and a quarter times more.
Less
Less
sunlight.
No, you need 2.25 times more solar panels to equal that.
Yeah.
Right.
In light of this conversation, why do we want to go there?
Can someone remind
because I'll tell you why I want to go there. Well, it is the next logical place to look for
I like
things.
Chuck getting high pitch on us. Give me that again, Chuck.
Chuck, the reason you want to go there is because you're going to explore. And when you explore, two things happen. Those two things, Doc, Chuck,
one,
you will make discoveries.
Okay.
You will find something you never found before.
All right.
But the other thing is you will have an adventure. You will have an adventure. It will engage you like nothing else, whether it's your backyard, the video game, or the surface of Mars. Now,
you might die, but it'll be an adventure.
Well, but what we want to do as an engineer, and this is what astronauts say, part of their pride as being astronauts is coming back. That's like landing the airplane is part of a pilot's pride. I mean, ejecting and letting the $350 million fighter plane explode is kind of cool on video, but it's not really your goal as a pilot or an astronaut. So, if we were to go there with a human, we would be able to make discoveries at an extraordinary rate. It's estimated 10,000 times faster than our best robot spacecraft.
Right now. But if the day comes when we have a 10,000 times better robot, you'd still probably want to explore.
Still want to send a human there.
Okay, so then...
So here's the thing. If we found evidence of life, fossilized bacterial mats, or cooler yet, something still alive, some Mars probe, then the question would be, and I want to know, do those Mars probes have DNA like you and I do, or are they a whole nother of notherness?
Mars probe?
That's a Martian microbe.
That's
a Martian microbe.
Mars probe.
And then if they have DNA and they're so much like us, does that mean Mars was hit by an impactor, went off into space, and you and I are descendant of Martians?
That we'd all be Martians. Okay, so he's trying to change humanity by reinventing space exploration.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But he's also worried about problems on Earth. Okay, that's okay.
Well,
Is he allowed?
Of us are.
Is he allowed?
I say bring it on.
Okay, so he's co-founder of Tesla.
Yeah.
The electric car company.
The car is just sex with wheels on it.
Very cool. He's also sex with wheels on it.
It's fantastic.
He's also chairman of Solar City. Let's hear how he just got into this.
From a terrestrial standpoint, the biggest problem we need to solve on Earth this century is sustainable production and consumption of energy. This really is quite a serious problem. People really should take this quite seriously. Even if you put the environmental consequences of dramatically changing the chemical composition of the oceans and atmosphere aside, we will eventually run out of oil.
Holding that aside.
Well, if we don't find a solution to burning oil for transport, and we then run out of oil, the economy will collapse and civilization will come to an end, or as we know it.
With or without global warming.
Yeah, with or without, exactly. I mean, and so if we know that we have to ultimately get off oil no matter what, we know that that is an inescapable outcome. It's simply a question of when, not if. Then why would you run this crazy experiment of changing the chemical composition of the atmosphere and oceans by adding enormous amounts of CO2 that have been buried since the Precambrian era? That's crazy. That is the dumbest experiment in history by far.
I promise it's not
Can
even
you think of a dumber experiment? I honestly cannot. What good could possibly come of it?
So therefore, we need another solution here. But of course, electric cars still uses coal.
That's why you need sustainable power production, like solar and wind.
Which can still charge your car.
Yes.
Bill.
Neil.
Do you still have your house in California?
Yes.
In Studio City?
Yes.
I've been there.
Yes.
Well, you're like a native. You're a New Yorker now, not native, but you live in New York.
Yes, I'm loving it.
Somebody else is living in your house.
Yeah,
that's a
house
crazy
sitters.
house that you live there.
It's cool.
It's completely alive with self-generated electricity.
Well, it's got 4 kilowatts of solar.
That's great.
Which is more than enough for 10 months of the year, maybe 10 and a half months of the year. And I would have more, but my neighbor's house shadows my panels.
Oh, I thought you were going to say your neighbor's stealing your electricity.
Well, she's stealing sunlight.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
That is
right?
the same
She
thing.
travels a lot, and I thought maybe while she was out of town, I could just cut off this one part of the second story. Easier to ask forgiveness than permission.
Okay,
right?
Bill, but
sorry.
There's tons of oil still in reserve that is yet to be drilled, or is
Here's the bad news.
Okay, but
we'll never run out of fossil fuels.
Oh,
that is the bad news.
That's terrible.
It really is, because burning it is just the worst thing for all of us.
So,
in the
do you have a
medium
plan?
term.
What's your plan?
So the plan is
Because as long as oil is cheap, and it's cheaper than my solar panels, how do you expect people to?
So
if you're rich,
so
you can buy the car that saves gas.
So bear in mind the reason
costs you more than the car that doesn't save gas.
Well, but the reason
sex on wheels,
the sex on wheels car.
The reason you want a sex on wheels electric car is
costing
because,
how much?
$100,000.
$100,000, yeah.
Right
yeah.
now.
Everybody's got $100,000.
Well,
yeah.
deep breath.
Yeah, of course.
Let me get to my mattress.
Deep breath. It's 95% efficient or 93% efficient, whereas a gas-powered car, constrained by the second law of thermodynamics, is at best 28%, 30%. So you're squandering energy you just can't get back when you try to get it out of heat at low temperature differences. So, with that said, there is it's been estimated that we could save about 30% of the energy we use through conservation. We can have electric cars. We can improve transportation systems, to be sure. But the big thing, you guys, as we say about climate change, if you are opposed to government regulation now, you don't like governments now, just wait till stuff gets bad. Just wait till Floridians have to abandon their homes and Miami's half underwater, and then there's going to be regulation.
Really,
and I'll give you an example of this. World War II. regulation happened like crazy, and everybody was very proud of it. Want to create the next great generation.
So what I neglected to mention here, and I think you should have mentioned too, was if you can start out with a $100,000 car because it's a test of concept, people like it, wealthy can buy it, but the real test is, can you make an electric car that's competitive in price to...
Absolutely.
And I'm told there's a Tesla Model 3 expected to come out, and that's priced at $35,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I drove a Nissan Leaf for 3 years.
Yeah. Okay.
It was about that same price.
About that same price. So that's that. There you have.
I mean, I did other stuff. I went to sleep. I had meals, and so I didn't just drive for 3 years.
But Bill, what I really want is the flying car.
The flying car is a real tough problem.
It is, but I think Elon cured me of my urges to find a flying car.
Oh,
well, just wait till everybody's in traffic flying cars.
No. He told me what the deal is with flying cars.
Wing loading?
Let's find out.
Of course, what we all really want are flying cars.
Do you?
Yeah.
No, actually, let me ask you. So, are you sure you want a flying car?
No, but it looks cool.
It does look cool. I mean, whenever you see sort of cities in like some futuristic concept, they always throw the flying car in there. And
you can't tell me you never thought of it.
No, I've thought a lot about it.
Yeah, okay.
And there's some people I know that are working on flying cars or flying personal transport devices, if you will.
Hoverboards.
There are people working on hoverboards. But, I mean, I sort of wonder...
After the interview, you can show me your hoverboard room, okay?
I know somebody's working on a hoverboard.
I won't tell anybody. The microphone is on mute now, so you can tell.
Just between us. It's awesome. I'm debating, like, should there be flying cars or shouldn't there be flying cars? I'm of two minds on that, because if there are flying cars, then, well, obviously you have added this additional dimension where now a car could potentially fall on your head and will be susceptible to weather. And of course you'd have to have a flying car where it would be like an autopilot, because I mean, otherwise, forget it.
You don't want people navigating.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be autopilot. Mm-hmm. But even in an autopilot scenario, and even if you've got redundant motors and blades, you're still gone from near zero chance of something falling on your head to something greater than that. And there's also a noise challenge. So
we don't know how to fly quietly.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll wait it out some longer.
Something that I do think would definitely help a lot in cities is more tunnels. Essentially, with a flying car, you're talking about going 3D. And there's a fundamental flaw with cities where you've got dense office buildings and apartment buildings and duplexes, and they're operating on 3 dimensions, but then you go to the street and suddenly you're 2-dimensional.
Because it's a surface.
Yeah.
This is how New York City solved this with the subway, going underneath multiple layers of subway.
Right.
So we are actually traveling in 3 dimensions, but below the ground rather than in the air.
But I think if you were to extrapolate that to cars and have more car tunnels, then you would alleviate congestion completely.
And you wouldn't need the flying car.
You would not need a flying car in that case. And it would always work even if the weather's bad. And
it would never ice up.
It would never ice up, and it would not fall on your head. So
we're going to get started on that right away.
I think those sound like the words of a man who owns a car company. That's all I'm saying.
A non-flying car company.
If I had a company that made non-flying cars, I probably wouldn't want to have a flying car.
You would say build more roads.
Exactly. Build more roads.
No, he's got a point.
Tunnels.
You don't want a car falling on your head. Plus, a point that came out in my conversation with it, but it didn't make the clip, was we have flying cars today. They're called helicopters.
Yeah.
And they're really noisy.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you want something as heavy as a car to levitate, it's going to be making some noise.
Well, it's also going to use a lot of energy.
And a lot of energy.
Well, that's because, in the word of another physicist I know who flies his own plane, he said helicopters don't fly as much as they beat the air into submission.
Who said this? Who said that? It's true. It's completely there.
The air doesn't submit. It just flows down and having enough momentum to hold the helicopter up. And now, Elon Musk brings up another good point.
What?
When we have humans operating the Tysonic flying car, which competes with the Chuck Nice subterranean vehicle, who's going to drive the thing without all kinds of trouble? And so, it always fascinates me when you look at highways from the air when you're in an airplane or a helicopter. It looks so orderly.
Yes.
It really does. Cars all they merge, they go along, it's very cool, but you're using a human brain. This thing is capable of art and radio shows and and rocket companies. You're using this brain to do nothing but operate this car on this right-of-way.
Stay in a straight line. Stay in a straight line. Stay in a straight line.
Change
stay in
lanes,
a
look over
straight
your
line.
shoulder, look over head check, head check, head check. Whoa, head check. And so this is why this seems like a real opportunity.
Well,
to
my favorite
improve
bumper
things.
stickers ever: caution, driver applying makeup. That's my favorite.
I've seen it.
I see you've driven behind me.
No, is that right, Chuck?
That's a lot of info.
Okay, so
Chuck.
you don't want
A lot of
drivers.
information, Chuck.
You don't want humans driving cars. You want driverless cars.
Yeah, at a very high level of reliability. Now, I used to work at Boeing, and you get a triple.
You worked on the 747.
747, a little bit 727, 3757, but
Yeah.
what you want
That's
is
the lingo, Chuck.
I know.
Oh, that's how you.
He's showing that off now.
Sound like you were giving me your number.
But these are all planes.
Everyone from Boeing has a 777 in their
Yeah, well,
phone
yeah,
number.
but the interesting point of interest, the 727, the 737, 757 have the same tube. The 717, which was the 707 KC-135, have the same tube. And so, where was I going? When it's triple redundant, autopilot, you can count on it. It's going to land the plane.
Gotcha.
But the problem with cars is not, you don't have nearly the traffic control that you have in airplane.
So who do you think is going to win this? Tesla, and with a driverless car perhaps coming out of their shop, or Google?
Well, Tesla makes cars.
Yeah.
Google makes software. You
Okay.
can't have one without the other to be
Oh,
driverless.
so this is like a chocolate and peanut butter thing.
Exactly.
Whoa.
You got your car in my software. You got your software in my car.
But wait, you're both right.
Chuck, I love setting you up.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
When you think about the automotive industry writ large, everybody uses the same parts. What the gas gauge sensor, the speedometer, the
Yeah.
tires, the nuts, all the bolts, all the same standard. There's a little competition, but you can get a lot of commonality. And so we will see what happens in the near future.
When we come back, we're going to find out what Elon Musk is really worried about. You know, should I give you a hint?
Go ahead.
No, I'm not.
God, I have-
When we come back, find out what keeps Elon Musk awake at night on Star Talk.
Today's episode is brought to you by Slack. Slack is a messaging platform for teams at work. It brings all your work communications into one central place, makes everything instantly searchable, and is available on any device. Stop trying to track your conversations over Dropbox, email, Skype, Instant Messenger, Google Hangouts. Okay, you get the idea. With Slack, never miss an important conversation again just because you checked the wrong app. Besides consolidating your team's communication into one place, Slack is also easily searchable, so you'll be able to find any conversation or files in a snap with one convenient search box. It also integrates with most of the tools your company probably already uses. You'll be able to sync Slack to GitHub, Dropbox, MailChimp, Twitter, and way more. You can even post animated GIFs or link to an audio player in line. More than 60,000 teams use Slack, including Airbnb, the New York Times, eBay, Yelp, and even the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory down in the South Pole. No matter what your business is, Slack will work for you. Visit slack.com/StarTalk to create a new team, and you'll get $100 in credit you can use when you decide to upgrade to a paid plan. Before upgrading, you can use Slack's Lite plan with unlimited users as long as you like for free. So give it a spin with your team. Once you're impressed, you'll receive $100 in credit for upgrading just by visiting slack.com/StarTalk. I'm really excited to welcome the Thai Bar as a sponsor of Star Talk Radio, because a few years ago I was reading GQ magazine and I came across this article that said you could go online and get quality ties for about $20. I didn't believe it, but what did I have to lose? I went online, I checked out thethaibar.com, and since then I buy all my ties from Thai Bar. Not just my ties, I also buy my belts, my pocket squares, colorful socks, bow ties, all from thaibar.com. And the best part is most of their products are below $20. By using a direct-to-consumer model, the Thai Bar is able to keep quality high and prices low. You no longer have to pay $60 for a quality tie. Your tie shouldn't cost as much as your shirt. So give your wardrobe a spring update and visit thetiebar.com by April 5th and use promo code StarTalk to receive free shipping on orders of $25 or more in the U.S. That's promo code StarTalk at thetiebar.com. The Tie Bar. Wear your good tie every day.
The future of space and the secrets of our planet revealed. This is Star Talk.
We're back to Star Talk Radio. I'm Degrasse Tyson, co-host Chuck Nice in the house.
Hey.
In the house. And I got Bill Nye in the house.
I am co-housing.
Co-housing, donning a bow tie as usual. In the earlier segment, we were sure that it is surgically attached. Polymetal, surgically attached to him. We're featuring my interview with Elon Musk. And just before the break, I teased you to tell you that we would be saving for this final segment what he fears the most.
Fears.
Now, if you're,
he's a confident guy.
He's a confident guy. And to quote Bill, if you've been scoring along with us, you may remember in our first segment, we listed the things he wanted to introduce to change humanity.
Right.
There's one thing he does not want to touch. Let's check it out.
I mean, I'm quite worried about artificial superintelligence these days. I think, and I've said this publicly, I think it's maybe something more dangerous than nuclear weapons. So we should be really careful about that. If there was a very deep digital superintelligence that was created that could go into rapid recursive self-improvement in a non-logarithmic way, then, that was...
And it's self-learning.
Yes. So, like, it just could reprogram itself to be smarter and iterate very quickly and do that 24 hours a day on millions of computers. Well,
then that's all she wrote. That's
all she wrote. Okay. I mean, we will be like a pet Labrador if we're lucky.
A pet.
I have a pet Labrador, by the way.
We'll be their pets.
It's like the friendliest creature.
But no, they'll domesticate us so that we will be lap pets to them.
Yes. I mean, or something strange is going to happen.
They'll keep the docile humans and get rid of the violent ones, and then breed the docile humans.
Yeah, I mean, the utility function of the digital superintelligence is of stupendous importance. Yeah. What does it try to optimize? And we need to be really careful with saying, oh, well, how about human happiness? Because it may conclude that all unhappy humans should be terminated. And, that we should all just be captured and with dopamine and serotonin directly injected into our brains to maximize happiness, because it's concluded that dopamine and serotonin are what cause happiness.
Therefore
maximize that. I'm just saying we should exercise caution.
What do you think of that?
Wow.
So just to be clear, he's not talking about artificial intelligence. Right. He's talking about artificial superintelligence, the kind that can self-learn.
Okay, so 20% of the world's population of people does not have electricity.
Mm-hmm.
They've never made a phone call, not a cell phone call. They've never made a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So when the superintelligence takes over Chicago or whatever, what are people in East Africa going to give a rip about? Okay, so you guys have managed to kill yourselves. Way to go. We're looking for some corn here. So I get it. But I think people have to keep in mind, computers are so reliable, and they're so much part of our everyday life now. We take them for granted. But somebody is, literally or in a sense, shoveling the coal. Okay. What happens if you unplug the supercomputer intelligence thing?
It will
find a new source of energy.
No.
Because it has its own nuclear reactor.
The failure of that logic is the assumption that it would let you unplug it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, but how did it create that thing to keep it from?
I'm just saying. I'm with you here.
It seems like a solvable problem.
So I'm looking here. We have three levels of intelligence: artificial narrow intelligence. So that's a computer doing one thing better than anything. Is not getting anybody's way.
A calculator.
Let it do it.
One wins at Jeopardy.
And no, that'd be artificial general intelligence, which would be general intelligence, but it's not. It's not hell bent on taking over the world.
It's that IBM computer, right?
Yeah.
It goes across. Yeah. Which one was that? Watson.
It's Watson. Okay.
Watson. So it's the superintelligence that scares him. And I kind of agree with you, Bill. You could at some point you just unplug the dude
Yeah.
And
well, I just think about the Colossus project, Forbin, the Colossus project. And so this is where the two superpowers on Earth have nuclear arsenals. They're controlled by computers, so they connect the two computers. And, trouble ensues, okay? And so you try to unplug it, but they have their own nuclear reactors that run them.
this is the movie War Games, like all over again.
Yeah. Well, it was before War Games. It was a novel. And then a movie. But the deal is that running a nuclear power plant is not straightforward. It takes somebody shoveling the coal, or moving the stuff around in the waste
in the pile.
Ponds,
yeah. So there's also much ado about the singularity. Ray Kurzweil said, I got to get him on Star Talk because I'm just not with him on this.
Well,
but I don't want to badmouth him unless he's sitting in front of me.
This is everybody. When I
so
do
he can badmouth me back.
Okay.
Does this happen to you, Neil? When I do a college talk, somebody asks me about the singularity.
I know, and people
when
all
a computer
freak out.
is as smart as a human.
Right. This would be
always plugged in and has no arms or legs and does something.
Right. Somehow, what is it going to do? It's going to chase you down the street? Like, what's it going to do?
Well, no, it's going to actually get the machines to do its bidding for it.
Yes, it'll
like in
control
Terminator.
your
Like in
thermostat.
Terminator, right.
It will
That was-
control your thermostat and your self-driving car.
I'm cool with that. But this notion that somehow the world is fundamentally different before and after this singularity.
But from a historical standpoint, I could buy it. Like,
no, we'll be different, but we're not going to be. It's not. We're going to be running screaming out of the apartment. No, when machines took over our physical labor, did we say, "Oh my gosh, this is the crazy day"? No, it happened slowly, and we're fine.
Right.
Now we got people repairing machines. I don't have, so.
And there's still artisans carving the thing.
We got to get them on the show. I'm going to get them on the show, and then we'll give them a piece of our mind. But we can't leave people freaked out over the fate of the machines that we create and their capacity to turn us into domesticated pets. Let's find out if Elon has any positive thoughts about the future at all.
Thank God.
I'm quite optimistic about the future. I mean, I don't think we're about to enter a dark age. It could happen, but it's not, I think, not likely anytime soon.
Not before you get to Mars.
Hopefully not before we get to Mars. But bear in mind that...
And part of the act of trying to get to Mars is a force to keep us out of the dark ages.
I mean, there's always a chance that something calamitous could happen to Earth, either a natural man-made catastrophe. Certainly we see that in the fossil record. And we've invented all sorts of ways of doing ourselves in that the dinosaurs didn't have. And we haven't managed to solve the asteroid problem. So, therefore, our risk is higher, okay? I'm sure people realize this. If you haven't solved the problems that have caused the prior extinctions, and you've added new ones, you've not improved the situation. And that's sort of where we are right now. And you know, there are people, there are some really smart people that are a lot more pessimistic than I am, like, you know, the Stephen Hawkings of the world and Martin Rees, the Royal Astronomer. They're all quite pessimistic. I'm a naturally optimistic person, but I do think that there's value in establishing life insurance, which, if life as we know it is on more than one planet, then the light of consciousness as we know it is likely preserved into the future for much longer.
Of consciousness is preserved. No, this is a beautiful talk. What?
That was his optimism?
What, Jack?
That was optimistic? Oh, you know, the thing that took out the dinosaurs, that's still a thing.
It is still a thing.
It's still a thing. And by the way, we'll probably take ourselves out before that.
And that's still a thing, too.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm pretty optimistic.
No. Here.
But you guys, back in the day, there were no humans when the ancient dinosaurs were taken out.
Yeah.
There's no evidence that the ancient dinosaurs had a space program.
At all. They didn't even have opposable thumbs, much less.
It doesn't seem like they did. And so we have that leg up. Also, they're going on 9 billion people. If you kill almost everybody through extraordinary means, somebody's going to leak through. Much more easy to leak through here on Earth than on Mars.
Here's what I'm saying. You want to become a multi-planet species. Whatever effort that takes, I've said this before, it seems that it would be less effort to deflect the asteroid than to terraform Mars and ship 1 billion people there.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Deflect the damn asteroid and get on with life. If you have the power to terraform Mars, you have the power to fix Earth.
Yeah, and Martian atmosphere is getting scraped off all the time.
That's what I'm saying. What fears you the most? What fears you the most? We got to wrap it up. What fears you the most?
The dark.
The dark.
Sorry, I go with the simple stuff. It's the truth.
The monster under your bed. All right, Bill, what fears you the most?
Climate change, then asteroids.
You know what I fear the most?
What?
that we lack the wisdom to understand our own fate, so that we then become victims of it, rather than conquerors.
This sounds like those who do not know the past are condemned to repeat it.
It's a version of that, I think. We got to call it quits there. Bill Nye, thanks for being on the show. Chuck
Thank
Nice,
you.
as always.
Always a pleasure.
My co-host. You've been listening to Star Talk Radio, and I've been your host, Neil deGrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist. And as always, I do keep looking up.
Like Galileo dropped the orange.
Our newest sponsor, Next Issue, is an app available on all the popular devices that collects all your favorite magazines in one place. That means unlimited access to current and back issues. I've started my trial, and I've already downloaded Popular Science, The New Yorker, Time, Newsweek, Wired, Men's Fitness, but there's over 140 to choose from. I think it's worth it for just my personal faves, but that wide selection definitely sweetens the deal, and I do it all for just one low monthly price. Go to nextissue.com/StarTalk. That's nextissue.com/StarTalk. Again, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Slack, for supporting today's episode. Slack is a messaging platform for teams at work. It brings all your work communications into one central place, makes everything instantly searchable, and is available on any device. Their mission is to make people's working lives simpler, more pleasant, and more productive. Over 500,000 people and more than 60,000 teams use Slack every day. Visit slack.com/StarTalk to create a new team, and you'll get $100 in credit you can use when you decide to upgrade to a